publish your work, show everything, the worst crap included, let your ego be humble and goaded to create more. So here's the full list, which I think is an excellent way of looking at making games as well. Especially if you try to do something creative and new. And that's basically all that I have for this talk. And we can probably do some questions. And there would be this other possibility, which would be for me to try to do a game on stage in 5 minutes. But I don't know. You guys really want to see me try to do a game in 5 minutes? I'd say that out loud. Do you guys take 2 pieces of paper, so you have one extra, or did you only get 1 piece of paper? Okay. Then let's use the second one as a small design exercise. And the design exercise is your game on creativity. And write down, it doesn't have to be anything special, it has to be a kind of a quick game that you have, and write it down. And while you're writing it down, I can play a spell like you. There's a lot of people who don't know wrong check fail in here. You don't know what it is? let's do wrong check fail. This is a game by Barbs, who is sitting here, giving a big hand. This is a game that he made for a Pixels competition. So the idea in this game is that you're controlling this character and you have to destroy the enemies. But it randomly changes what you're controlling. For example, you might be fighting space invaders in here, and now you're playing as a Mario character that has completely different controls, and you're Batman fighting gauntlet ghosts. It's and then you can also be a space invader in the middle of fuck. So if you guys have written down your ideas, pass them along to the end of the line and someone will collect them after. Let's do questions in between and we'll use the last 5 minutes that we have for for the game. So if you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. They don't have to be about this talk. I can talk about other stuff that I've done as well. If someone's interested in. Yeah?
How long did you spend working on the physics itself for Crayon Physics to actually get the physics working?
So the question was, how long did I spend working on the physics in Crayon Physics Deluxe in order to get the physics actually working? It's an interesting question because I started doing my own physics engine in the very beginning. And I spent like 4 months tweaking it and making the game at the same time and getting it ready. And it was like 2 weeks before the IGF deadline when I figured out that the biggest problem in the game that I have right now is that the physics engine is causing too much problems. So I was like, fuck, what I'm going to do is 2 weeks before the deadline of the IGF. And then Erin Cutlow released Box 2D. And I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks, I can swap the physics engines in 2 weeks. And I managed to do it in 1 week. So I had another week to polish up the game. I've never crunched out as much as I did during those 2 weeks that I did for IGF. I worked every day for like 15 hours straight and highly focused and could get so much done that it was pretty amazing.
No Spelunky then?
No, there was no Spelunky, it wasn't released back then. So these days,
Do you remember what gave you the original idea for Crayon?
there were actually a bunch of different ideas. So the question was, what was the initial inspiration behind Crayon Physics Deluxe? I remember that I actually totally forgot that I had seen this MIT sketch physics illustration tool thing, but I saw it on YouTube a long time ago, and I forgot about it. And then I remember that I had been thinking about doing a game where you could draw stuff for the longest of time. And the original plan was to do a very Lemmings-like game where you draw things for these small creatures. But once I started doing the prototype, I figured out that it's not actually really fun to do this Lemmings-like creatures thing kind of game. So it kind of, the game idea kind of molded as I worked on the prototype itself. Another big inspiration for me was when I realized the link between crayons and drawing physical objects. And then I figured that link when I was working on a previous prototype and I had to do this title screen and I wanted to make it look like crayon. And then I was like, okay, I could probably do a game where you draw with crayons, and then I was thinking what kind of a game that would be, and then it's like, maybe if I would draw physical objects, that would be cool. But it wasn't the biggest or the brightest idea that I've ever had. It's like, maybe this game would be kind of cool, and it turned out to be something that resonated really well with other people. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is there a report or something that you could play Crayon Physics Deluxe on like the DS or?
So the question was, is there a port of Crayon Physics Deluxe? There's somebody made an unofficial DS port, homebrew DS port. I've been thinking of doing a DS version of the game for the longest of time. And I really wanted to do it, but the problem with that was the game publishers. And I talked to a bunch of them, and they weren't that excited about doing it. When they were excited, they didn't really want to give that much money, and then there was these other things where they said, well, we actually have this, we've been working on this kind of similar kind of game before, so it's like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Why did you start programming instead of maybe writing or drawing or playing some crappy acoustic guitar or picking drums or playing organ?
I've done pretty much all of those things. No, it was, I played